Looking to make it 2 in a row over the Philadelphia Phillies and 5 in a row overall. The Phillies have lost 5 out of 6, but they're still just 3 back of the Atlanta Braves in the National League East, so they are in the hunt with less than 6 weeks to go in the regular season. A look at the starting lineup for the Phillies. A big change in the 3 spot. Nick Williams is in the game in right field, and he's been a hot hitter. He's a good hitter. He's had some great pinch hitting numbers. He's a part-time starter, but he'll be in there today. And Carlos Santana is one of 6 Phillies in the lineup today with at least 17 home runs on the season.
And that Philly lineup will get to face Aaron Sanchez. Sanchez making his first career start against the Phillies. This is his 16th start of the season. He has made 3 rehab starts down in the minor leagues, and in his last start on the 20th at Double-A New Hampshire, he threw 86 pitches, so that's a good number for him. He should be able to get up to around 100 pitches if he is effective. But you can see just 79 2/3 innings. His last outing out in Anaheim, he lasted just an inning. He injured that finger, tried to pitch through it, and that wasn't a good idea. So he's been on the disabled list since late June.
Second season in a row, significantly marred by injuries. The blister last season, now the finger problem this year. And the Sanchez is his nickname of choice here on Players Weekend. Again, if you weren't with us last night, very colorful uniforms on Players Weekend. The players can put whatever nickname they want on the back. They can wear whatever colorful shoes they want. And Aaron Sanchez just happy to be back in the big leagues and on a major league mound. And he's in there a little bit low with a fastball for ball 1 to get us underway. Cesar Hernandez leading off again for the Phillies. The second baseman hitting .261. Good on base percentage. He'll take a walk. Had 3 hits last night as Sanchez pumps in a strike to even it up at 1-1.
Hernandez, Quinn, and Kingery combined to put up 10 hits on the board. They all had good nights, but they only had 1 extra base hit. That was the home run by Kingery.
For Sanchez, a chance, Buck, really, if all goes well, maybe to make about 6 starts and just finish up strong, get the feel back, headed to spring training next year, feeling better about things. Because obviously, with the expected departures from the starting rotation, and some young guys are moving in, but the way it looks right now, the Blue Jays are going to be heavily dependent on both Aaron Sanchez and Marcus Stroman to be healthy next year.
Yeah, they need them both healthy and to be able to make 32, 33 starts. That's going to be huge. But we talk about Sanchez commanding the strike zone. He walks the leadoff man. Let's take a look at the defense behind Aaron Sanchez. In the outfit, it's Hernandez, Pilar, Billy McKinney moves to right. Gurriel and Travis up the middle. Danny Jansen catching Aaron Sanchez for the first time. Of course, Danny Jansen's been with the Blue Jays the last couple of springs, so he's had a chance to catch Sanchez from time to time, whether it's a side session or just a chance to watch how he throws. But this will be the first chance he's had to catch that moving fastball. It'll be interesting to see how he handles that.
Rhys Hoskins is the batter for the Phillies. Leadoff man aboard on a walk. And Hoskins, who was the left fielder last night, is the DH today as he looks at a strike. Big power guy, 25 home runs on the season.
Like so many of his Philly teammates, Hoskins is really struggling, hitting .159 over his last 15 games. This team has really struggled to score runs.
And just trying to stay within striking distance of Atlanta atop the National League East in a division that at the beginning of the year I think everybody had all but conceded to Washington. But it hasn't worked out that way. The Nationals have made a couple of trades, dealt away Daniel Murphy among others, and now Gabe Kapler's Phillies. And if you will, Alex Anthopoulos' Braves, or Brian Snitker's Braves. He's the manager, but Alex Anthopoulos now the GM of the Braves. Great young talent in that Atlanta system. And they're 3 up on Philadelphia. Runner goes on the 0-2. Throw down by Jansen is in time to get him.
Well, the Phillies are aggressive, and they're going to force the issue. We mentioned they've not scored many runs, just 3.4 runs in their last 15 games. They've averaged just below 3.5. And watch Travis. He's right behind second base. He gets there quickly and swipes the tag very quickly on Hernandez. He gets a decent jump off Sanchez, and because they're struggling, they're going to roll the dice and gamble offensively as much as possible.
And interesting, going on an 0-2 pitch as well, and clearly out, as you can see on the replay. Great shot there, guys. And that's the first out. Now ground ball wide of third. Diaz has it. Back to his feet. Dug out by Smoke. for out number 2.
Ledmus Diaz has really opened up some eyes, not only with his play at shortstop, but really lately because he's played so much at third. He's got terrific reflexes. He leaves his feet and snares it. And once he gets to his feet, it's academic because he's got such a good arm. Watch how quickly he gets to his feet, reaches back for a little extra, and he gets some help over on the other end. Justin Smoke can really pick it over at first base, and he helps out all of his infielders digging out those low throws.
Well, you said it, with each and every game at third base, so Ledmus Diaz looks more and more comfortable over there, with Lourdes Gurriel now getting the playing time back at short again the last couple of days. And it helps to have a first baseman who can dig him out of the dirt.
Yeah, man, you can see how he goes after that ball. He kind of scoops it forward and doesn't try to pick it, and Diaz very appreciative of that work over at first. Smoke learned that from Ron Washington when they were together in Texas. Washington, one of the best infield instructors in the game.
You know, the Diaz situation at third is an example maybe of something that the Blue Jays might be learning about that maybe they didn't even think they wanted to learn about, or knew they might want to learn about, but because of all the injuries, they've, you know, Russell Martin's played third. With Donaldson being out for most of the season, they've had kind of a revolving door at third base. And it's not like back at the beginning of the year we heard, hey, Diaz will play some third. But he has been forced into that situation, and I think has exceeded expectations.
No question about it. He's exceeded expectations, and he really has terrific range as a third baseman because he's got range as a shortstop, and that, although it's a different timing issue, he has played very well there. Russell Martin's thinking, I don't know if I'm going to get any more reps over there at third base.
2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Another fastball fouled off. You can see, though, the location, or the command rather, from Sanchez seems to be improving a little bit here. And when he has had his struggles this year, it's often been because of the walk or falling behind in the count and just having to throw so many pitches.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how he takes those fastballs on the outside corner and lowers the pitches. They have to be down a little bit more.
Swing and a miss. Nasty curveball. Good call there by Danny Jansen to get him. So a promising top of the first for Aaron Sanchez, and he got some help from his defense. So Ledmus Diaz laying out and making a play. And look at the lineup that John Gibbons has written in there for this afternoon's game against the Philadelphia Phillies. He's got Billy McKinney back in the lineup and up in the leadoff spot. And he's got as hot a hitter as there is in baseball right now, Kendrys Morales, who homered in his 5th consecutive game last night. Overall, an 8-game hitting streak with crazy numbers. And Lourdes Gurriel Jr. didn't get 2 hits in last night's game, but he did get 1. So the multi-hit streak is over, but the 12-game hitting streak is still intact.
And the Blue Jays will face 25-year-old Nick Pivetta. This will be his 52nd Major League start, his 27th of the season. Blue Jays saw him on the 27th of May back in Philadelphia, and they put an L on him. Pivetta has been kind of inconsistent, but when you really think about it, he hasn't had a whole lot of experience, just over 260 Major League innings in his career. But he certainly has the stuff to be an effective pitcher.
And Billy McKinney is back in the lineup, and why not? Hit another home run last night. His second as a Blue Jay, second in the big leagues. Also walked and was hit by a pitch, was hitting 9th last night. He's up in the leadoff spot here today, playing right field. As he faces a guy who, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, and Jamie and the guys mentioned it on the pregame show as well, is a Canadian. He's from Victoria, BC, becomes the 3rd Canadian starting pitcher to oppose the Blue Jays here in this ballpark this year. Mike Soroka of Atlanta. And of course, we all know what James Paxton, the Big Maple of Seattle, did when he was here back earlier in the season. Pivetta's a guy who played for the Canadian Junior National Team for a number of years. He has represented Canada in the World Baseball Classic. Attended New Mexico Junior College. He's a big kid, sure looks like a pitcher out there. Big, strong kid, nice, clean delivery, throws hard. Results a little bit inconsistent this year. Some highs, some lows. Better numbers, though, than last year. And look at that fastball at 97 as he blows it right by McKinney.
Hey, take a look at the Canadian starters. And, of course, you mentioned Paxton. James Paxton threw the no-hitter here on the 8th of May. But they have represented BC very well. Pivetta from Victoria and Paxton from Ladner, BC. And James Paxton just got hit by a line drive. He's on a DL right now, 10-5. But Pivetta just starting out in his career. He's 7-10, and he's got the stuff to be a very good starting pitcher.
Evan Travis with a one-hopper right back to the mound. And a quick second out on that comebacker. Pivetta, growing up in Victoria, was a Blue Jays fan. And again, the fan base of the team goes coast to coast. He grew up a Blue Jays fan, always wanted to pitch in this ballpark. Does so as a big leaguer for the first time today. And specifically, the player he liked the most and looked up to the most was the late Roy Halladay, a guy that he got a chance to meet once a few years ago in the minors, when he was in the minors and Halladay was still around the Phillies a little bit.
Pretty good guy to put up on a pedestal for sure. And Pivetta, he has the characteristics of Halladay, of course, a guy that works hard at it, and he's just getting started in his career. He pitched for the junior national team in 2009 and 2010. Craig Hamilton does a terrific job with that program, and he was on the team with Dalton Pompey and Tom Robson on that particular team in 2010. They played in the World Junior Championships at Thunder Bay.
Tell you, when the next World Baseball Classic comes around, if Canada could ever convince Paxton, Soroka, and Pivetta to all pitch for their country, we'd have something going there.
Yeah, that's the whole essence of what you need in the World Baseball Classic is pitching. And if they were able to pitch, and it's so tough because everybody's so concerned about injuries. And when you try to recruit people, of course, I tried to recruit Carpenter and Halladay when I managed in 2006, but they were so concerned about the unknown of the WBC at that time because that was the first time we'd ever tried it.
1-2 on Justin Smoke. And the fastball lifted high and deep to left field. But it will be playable for Quinn on the edge of the warning track, and it's a long, loud third out as Pivetta gets the Blue Jays in order in the bottom of the first. under the weather and unable to be with us here today. Pinch hitting, if you will. We say hello to Martine Guyard.
Yes, a little bit of an August call-up, Dan. Now, it has been more than a year since Troy Tulowitzki last played in a Major League Baseball game, and earlier this morning, John Gibbons confirming, perhaps to no surprise, that he will not return in 2018. So early this season, Tulowitzki had surgery to remove those bone spurs in both heels. He hasn't progressed enough to play, so Gibbons says he misses Tulowitzki's presence and leadership around the team and has nothing but good things to say about him. But on the field, 2018 will go down as a lost season for the 33-year-old.
Yeah,
Dan?
Thank you, Martine. That injury he suffered last year and then the ensuing surgery he had on both heels, costing him all of 2018. And going forward, as we all know, the depth and what looks like the strength of the organization going forward is infielders, and you just wonder what the status of Troy Tulowitzki going forward is. He signed for next year and the year beyond. As this pitch is hit out to Travis out in shallow right field, and Carlos Santana is retired one down. And of course, there's Travis and Gurriel and Diaz we see today. We know Guerrero's coming at some point. Drury is part of the organization right now. Solarte is part of the organization. Bichette's coming at some point. Now, not all of these guys obviously will be here next year, but that's a guy they'd like to see on the field. They'd like to see what he can do. Diaz has opened up some eyes with his play at third base, giving him more versatility, and you just wonder what the makeup of the infield, specifically the left side of the infield, is going to be next year with the outset.
You're just not going to know till you get to spring training to see who's still around. Tulowitzki will turn 34 on October 10th. And he hasn't played since July 28th last year. He only got in 66 games a year ago, so that's a long layoff, and he's going to have to put in a lot of work this offseason.
As Drupal Cabrera drives one to straightaway center field, it's over the head of Pilar and up against the fence on a bounce. And Cabrera, a newcomer to the Phillies after being picked up at a deal, is into second with a one-out double.
Well, Cabrera, one of the guys that has faced Sanchez, and he understands a little bit about him, but he hasn't hit the way that they had hoped he would. Of course, Sanchez throws a lot of two-seam fastballs. That one's a little flat. By that, I mean it runs across the plane of the bat, doesn't break downward underneath the bat, and Cabrera is able to hit it over Pilar's head off the base of the wall in center field.
He's still a tough out. Doesn't have much range at all defensively, but they spot him around at different positions. And still a guy who can put the bat on the ball. A former New York Met, as Michael Franco sends one down the right field line and foul out of play. Franco, the primary third baseman for the Phillies, having a nice second half. He has picked it up offensively. He has picked it up defensively as well. And as you can see from the numbers, he's having a good year.
Yeah, he sure is, and he has been favorably impacted by the addition of Carlos Santana. They're both from the Dominican Republic, and Santana started working out with Franco as soon as they found out he was going to come to Philadelphia, and he's had a real positive impact in as far as the daily routine, how you get ready for a game, how you prepare against a particular pitcher. And Santana's been a terrific pro throughout his career. Now he's passing on his experience to Franco.
And we talk about that with Kendrys Morales of the Blue Jays, and how he's passed on his experience to a lot of the young players, specifically, although not exclusively, a lot of the younger Latin American players who really look up to Kendrys Morales. There's the 0-2, and a good stop there by Jansen on a breaking ball down and away.
You make a great point about character and how experience really helps out the team, and Morales has been a terrific pro since he first came to the Blue Jays, and he never wavers. He's the same day in and day out. He comes out, he has fun. Today he had a bunch of the players playing pepper, something you don't see, and I think the impact he's had on Gurriel and Teoscar Hernandez and Diaz, for that matter, has been nothing but positive.
Yep.
A terrific leader and a great baseball mind.
Fastball in on his hands and a pop-up for Travis. And that's the second out.
To finish up the thought about chemistry and leadership, when you have guys like Santana and Morales on your team, you can't really put a number on how valuable they are. Basically, the manager understands the value. and they're kind of the policeman on the team. When somebody gets out of line a little bit, without the manager or coach having to say anything, these guys will go to a player and say, hey, that's not how we want you to do it. You got to come out, you got to get ready, you got to put the time in. They're invaluable for a manager, especially a young manager like Gabe Kapler.
2 down, no score. And the batter, Odubel Herrera. You know, and especially for guys like Diaz and Gurriel being from Cuba, specifically as Morales is. And you and I have both talked to Diaz and Gurriel about Morales and how much they look up to him and like having him there. And the Gurriel family very close to Morales. There's another young player who's got ties to Kendrys Morales, a young guy whose dad played with Morales and is a good friend of his. And that young man's name is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And Kendrys Morales used to watch little 5, 6, 7-year-old Vladimir Guerrero Jr. run around in Anaheim when Big Vlad was playing with the Angels. And Morales was out there. And you know, wouldn't you think there's some value there if Morales is back with the team next year and he's under contract? But if he's back and the way he's hitting right now, you know, why wouldn't he be? Although, you know, a lot can happen between now and next spring. But wouldn't it be nice for Guerrero, you would think, to have an influence like Kendrys Morales?
Yeah, it would be a tremendous asset just to help him get through the rough spots. Not only the baseball itself, but the travel and where you show up on the bus and how you handle yourself on the road and all those things that, you know, if you're not properly led, you can make some embarrassing mistakes and it can create some problems for you. Become self-conscious about those things.
And Sanchez issues his second walk of the game.
That was the one thing that Aaron had some problems with during his rehab down in the minors, was his inability to really throw consistent strikes. Even in his last outing on the 20th of August, he had 4 walks and 4 strikeouts in 4 1/3. But that's always been the kind of pitcher he has been. And he is certainly at his best when he uses that fastball, uses it down in the zone, and doesn't try to hit the corners. Just lets the natural movement of his 2-seam fastball work to the corners.
The catcher today for the Phillies is Jorge Alfaro, hitting .252 with 8 home runs, a guy with a strong arm. And that fastball let a run on it, but it catches the inside corner for a called strike. Sanchez talking to himself. He is clearly not 100% pleased with his ability to execute what he wants to so far today, but so far it hasn't hurt him on the scoreboard. We're seeing more curveballs early in this game than we saw earlier this season.
Now, that's his second best pitch. He's got a great fastball and a great curveball. And when you throw enough fastballs for strikes, hitters are going to chase this type of breaking ball because it comes out of his hand on the same angle as his fastball. And you see fastball, you recognize fastball, and then it's a curveball, and you swing over the top of it. I think the most important thing a baseball player can do, whether you're a pitcher or a position player, is recognize what kind of player you are. What are your strengths? Aaron's a power pitcher. He's not a command pitcher. He's a power pitcher. So trust that powerful curveball and your great fastball.
Got him with another curveball. That has been a sharp pitch early today for Aaron Sanchez. No score going to the bottom of the second. And Kendrys Morales, one of the hottest hitters going, will lead it off for the Blue Jays. home run. His 5th consecutive game with a home run, a total of 6 in all in those 5 games. And a 5-game home run streak puts him one shy of the all-time Blue Jay franchise record. That record belongs to Jose Cruz Jr. back in 2001.
Yeah, and Cruz was really hot, obviously. They hit home runs in 6 straight games. It happened at the end of the season, and the club was trying to get to 500. But he strung together that great streak late in the season and did a terrific job finishing up with those 6 straight games with a homer, and Morales trying to tie that today.
Major league record is 8, shared by Dale Long, Don Mattingly, and Ken Griffey Jr. Nick Pivetta from Victoria, BC, getting the Blue Jays in order in the bottom of the 1st. Pivetta looking around behind him to see what the defense is setting up. They're setting up where you would imagine they would set up against Morales. And here we go. A guy with a big fastball and a guy who loves to hit fastballs.
Yeah, this is the greatest head-to-head matchup in all of sports in my mind. A power pitcher against a power hitter, where you know Pivetta's got to throw his fastball. That's his best pitch, and they're playing right into the strengths of Kendrys Morales.
Off the end of the bat into shallow right field, and you can hear the crowd is obviously aware of how hot Morales has been. Every time he makes contact, there's some oohing and eyeing as if it might go out.
Take a look at the arsenal for Nick Pivetta. He's got a big fastball, a little average about 95 miles an hour. And then he'll throw the curveball from time to time. It's not as hard as his slider, which is almost 85 miles an hour. And his changeup, like so many power pitchers, it'll be about 6 to 8 miles an hour slower than his best fastball.
Kevin Pillar, the batter, hitting in the 5 spot this afternoon. 255, 10 homers on the season. Grounds it past the mound, but waiting for it out near second base is Cesar Hernandez, and he'll get Pillar by a step. 2 down.
The 2018 Honda CR-V, where style and versatility come together.
Well, you could buy the Players Weekend jerseys with the nicknames at the Jays shop here at Rogers Center if you so choose. You can see a Smoke jersey up there, Russell Martin jersey up there. I would bet you they're selling a few Unitos here this weekend.
And you bet they are. Unito, of course, in honor of his brother, little Uni.
Popped up in foul territory down the right field line. Tricky play and a nice job by Carlos Santana going down the line to make the catch and to retire Gurriel and the Blue Jays. Nick Pivetta needs only 6 pitches to get the Blue Jays in order again here in the bottom of the 2nd.
experience to catch every moment this season. MLB At Bat is your #1 Blue Jays app. Get Blue Jays home screen icons and features such as the MLB TV game of the day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and lots more. Download MLB At Bat today.
Thank you, Martina. Nice crowd here at the ballpark today. They got their souvenir batting practice helmets, as you can see them all over the ballpark. That's the giveaway here this afternoon. Roof closed with a threat of some weather in the area. Everybody's wearing them proudly. Number 9 hitter is Roman Quinn, and quickly the count is 0-2.
If you had that MLB app, you would know that Jay Happ won his 5th start pitching for the Yankees.
Wow.
Improved to 15-6 today. First half of a doubleheader.
Ground ball up the middle to his left. Sliding stop. Gurriel, wide throw. And Quinn, who runs extremely well, is safely across.
Tell you what, you see the athleticism of Gurriel, the ability to go up the middle and flag that hot shot down. Look at the range. Watch where he starts from. And then he's able to get to the ball. Fires just kind of a do or die throw, and Quinn runs very well, but look at the range and the ability of Gurriel. And this is a guy that's just coming off an ankle injury. No reservations whatsoever about making those tricky plays in the field.
Scored a base hit for Quinn, and back to the top of the order now for Cesar Hernandez, who walked back in the first. You know what I'd be curious about is if, and they should know this, but if Gurriel knew, hey, Quinn can fly, so my only shot is to just spin and throw as quickly as I can. Had that been, say, Alfaro, does he take his time, get up, and make a different kind of a play?
Yeah, I guarantee you he knows that Quinn can run just by watching the game yesterday.
There's a base hit into center field for Hernandez. Quinn on his way around second, and he'll steam into third as the throw comes back into Travis. Phillies on the corners with nobody out.
Well, I tell you what, that's a pretty sight when you see a base runner go first to third as easily as Quinn did. Speed is an aspect of the game that has not been emphasized, but watch the athleticism of Quinn. Once he sees it's through past Travis, he turns on the jets and breezes around second over to third base. I mean, this is an athletic kid, and he can really fly. And he puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and boy, that's a pretty picture to see speed like that.
First and third, nobody out. The Phillies threatening here in the third inning against Aaron Sanchez. And the batter is Rhys Hoskins, who grounded out his first time up. And he'll take a strike over the outside edge, 0-1. Questioning the strike call from Brian Knight, the home plate umpire. Hoskins was denied on a very good play by Aledmus Diaz. Down at third, and an equally good scoop over at first by Justin Smoke. Phillies lost here last night, but they got a little good news on the out-of-town scoreboard as Atlanta lost to Miami. So the Phillies remaining 3 back of the Braves. They are also 2 back of the second wild card spot of the National League.
Now, the one thing you want to do if you're the Phillies is just take care of business. If you take care of your own business, the Braves and the Phillies are going to play 7 games at the end of the season. So if you stay right where you are, you'll have the opportunity to determine your own fate. So you can't get too busy or too concerned about watching the scoreboard. You just got to get your team going. Offensively, as we mentioned, it's been a real struggle for them. They've hit just .236 and have an on-base percentage of .284 over their last 15 games. That's not going to get it done.
Fouled off 1-2. Two of the surprise teams, if you will, in baseball this year, Atlanta and Philadelphia, both with a lot of young players, but both perceived to be by many as maybe a year ahead of schedule. And it's pretty wild in the National League right now. Every divisional race is close. Atlanta's 3 up on Philly. The Cubs are 3 up on the Cardinals. Arizona's 1 up on Colorado. And a bunch of teams are in the hunt for wild card spots. Inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
At the start of this series, the Phillies had a pre-game meeting talking about this series, but they went back and reflected on their game on Thursday. They said, you know what, fellas, that's the way we're going to have to play baseball. It was a 2-0 terrific game, Aaron Nola against Max Scherzer. Everything was tight. Everything was intensive. And the Phillies played a clean game and won that game. They beat Scherzer.
Curveball lashed foul down the left field line.
But if you're going to get into the postseason, that's the way you have to play. Aaron Nola outlasted Scherzer, going 8 innings, allowed no runs on 5 hits. He won his 15th game. Scherzer went 7 innings. He allowed just 2 runs on 2 hits. But the Phillies won that game, and that's the kind of game that they're going to have to play. They're going to have to play clean games, don't commit any errors, and come up with timely hits.
Reaching for it. It's a fly ball to center field. Millar will be there to make the catch. Plenty deep enough for the speedy Quinn to come home. Holding it first as Hernandez sac fly makes it 1-0.
Well, that's a good approach by Rhys Hoskins as he's able to put the bat on the ball. And that's all you want to do. Hit it to the outfield. Put it in play. You got a speedy guy at third. Less than 2 outs. Cash in that runner from third. Watch the effort to get to this ball. Pitches off the plate outside. Takes the top handoff, extends through the ball, and gets enough of it to hit it to center. Remember, this guy's nickname is Big Fella, and the Big Phil had a great at bat right there.
RBI number 78 on the season. Runner at first, 1 out for Nick Williams, who struck out against Sanchez his first time up. Nasty curveball down and in to get him.
Look at the lineup for the Phillies, and you always talk about lineup construction and how you put a lineup together. Quinn led it off with an infield hit, but he's got terrific speed, so when you got your contact guy top of the order in Cesar Hernandez, Quinn could go first to third on the base hit to center and scores easily on that sac fly. Put speed down in that 9th hole, turn the lineup over to your RBI guys, and it's going to be productive.
Ground ball, but not sharply hit. Only play for Travis is on to first. 2 down, and the runner to second on the play.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. The camera reimagined. Available now.
So here at Rogers Center, Aaron Sanchez back on the mound for the Blue Jays for the first time in better than 2 months. That finger injury suffered when he got it caught in the handle of his suitcase and caused obviously a pretty significant injury. Remember, he went out in Anaheim and tried to pitch through it, but lasted only 1 inning, and then went on the DL, and eventually the 10-day DL became 60-day DL, though that's more of a procedural thing really to get somebody else on the 40-man roster without delving too deep into it. But bottom line is, it cost him better than 2 months. What do you think of how sharp he's been so far?
I think he's pitched very well. I think he is pitching to his strengths, and that's using that good fastball, trusting it. He threw a last pitch changeup that still had good movement right at the bottom of the zone. 95, good life in the strike zone. So now he puts pressure on the hitter. If he does drop that hook on him, it's probably going to get a swing from Santana.
No balls, 2 strikes. Runner at second, 2 down. And back to the curveball, but this time Santana wouldn't chase. He takes it down and in for ball 1.
That's a good curveball because it never goes up out of Aaron's hand. When you have good hitters like Santana, if they see that ball go up just ever so slightly, that's a red flag that it's a breaking ball.
Change up there, fouled off. Before this year, it was a lot more curveballs than changeups. Earlier this year, a lot more changeups than curveballs. Can it be an even mix, or do you like the curveball as a bigger part of his arsenal than the changeup?
Yes, I don't know that his changeup is a swing and miss changeup just yet. It might get you some ground ball outs early in an at bat.
Curveball tapped weakly back towards the mound, and that's all for the Phillies. They do get a run, though, and heading to the bottom of the third, now lead 1-0. Pennsylvania in a minor league park at the same time as the Little League World Series was going on, and Pavetta, who's from Victoria, had a chance to meet the Wally kids from the Wally Little League from Surrey, BC, who represented Canada so well. And this is one of the nice things they do. The kids ride in on a bus with the big leaguers when the big leaguers land on Sunday, and Pavetta was obviously happy to be in a photo with the Canadian kids who won 2 games. They beat Spain, they beat Mexico before losing to Puerto Rico. Then Pavetta went out and pitched Sunday night. And another special treat is the kids from Surrey are going to be here at the ballpark tomorrow. They'll be honored pregame here at Rogers Center.
I hope the Pavetta have a chance to say hi to him again, but that's been a tradition with the Canadian Little League team that represents Canada at the World Series. They stop by Rogers Center on their way home.
Danny Jansen getting his first at bat of the afternoon. Pavetta's retired all 6 batters he's faced so far.
You know, it's interesting that Pavetta made that start at a neutral site. It's the first time a Philly starter has started at a neutral site since 1957. Jack Sanford started against the Brooklyn Dodgers at Roosevelt Stadium in Jersey City. Doesn't happen very often.
Jansen, and caught out by Hernandez behind the bag, 1 down.
Pavetta throws a cut fastball, and that was that last pitch. It's right on the end of the bat of Danny Jansen. He'd thrown him a couple of good curveballs in this at bat, and then this cutter goes right to the end of the bat. He didn't hit it all that well, and Hernandez is able to make the catch. There you can see the tight spin. That ball runs away from Jansen, hit right off the end of the bat.
Teoscar Hernandez is back in the lineup today. He has not started 3 of the last 4 games. As everybody knows, the defense has been an issue, and the bat has slowed down as well. And this is the first time this year, Buck, that he has hit this low in the order. He is hitting in the 8th spot today. Hasn't happened before this year. And with the addition of Billy McKinney, obviously he's being pushed for playing time. McKinney's in there today as well. Randall Grichuk is not in the starting lineup today for the Blue Jays, nor is Curtis Granderson. As Grichuk gets a day off, and John Gibbons said yesterday he had a chat with Granderson and explained to the classy veteran that, hey, the organization wants to look at the kids as much as they can, and Granderson took it as well as you would expect him to take it, which is extremely well.
He understands exactly where he is in his career, and the Blue Jays want to look at some of these guys. John Gibbons wants to see them firsthand. And Russell Martin, he too is kind of in that same situation with Danny Jansen getting a lot of playing time behind the plate.
Might be John Gibbons going down there and saying good effort on that play, on that ball to the left, to your left, off the bat of Quinn. What does that mean to a young player when the manager gets up in the middle of the ball game and just goes down and says, "Attaboy"?
It's huge, and you know everybody's going to acknowledge it when he comes off the field. All his teammates are going to say, "Hey, good job, nice try," and everything else. But when the manager walks all the way down the other end of the dugout, it makes you feel pretty special.
And Teoscar will take a walk. First base runner of the afternoon for the Blue Jays.
That's the part of pitching that you really have to understand. It's managing the lineup. Know where you are in the lineup. Teoscar struck out a lot this season, and now he draws the one-out walk, and now you deal with a very good fastball hitter in Diaz. You just got to know your lineup and what you're dealing with.
And the guy is feeling pretty good about himself at the plate right now. 1 for 2 last night with a double. Also drew a walk. Up to 16 homers on the season, and he shoots a fastball into right field for a base hit. Hernandez up to second.
Well, that was a perfect storm for Diaz. Pavetta's a fastball pitcher. He had just walked Teoscar Hernandez. First pitch, wants to get ahead, gets his fastball, and he doesn't try to knock it out of the ballpark. He just takes it the other way. Fastball's up out over the plate. Good concentration by Diaz. His head stays down on it, and he drives it through the hole on the right side. It's a perfect setup for Diaz.
First hit for the Blue Jays. 2 men on with a 1 out, down 1-0 in the bottom of the third. And back to the top of the order for Billy McKinney. Pivetta was throwing hard right out of the chute here today. He threw a 97-mile-an-hour fastball past McKinney to strike him out of the first inning. Starts him with a breaking ball here, but he misses high.
Yeah, that was pretty predictable that he was going to start him off with a breaking ball. He missed with it, and now he's narrowed his percentages, so McKinney has to really focus on waiting for a fastball that he wants to hit. Can Pivetta throw a breaking ball for a strike? McKinney's got a good idea at the plate. Watch what's going on ahead of you. Watch the 2 batters ahead of you. Get a pretty good idea. And Kranitz, he doesn't like this sequence that they've followed in. Rick Kranitz, a long-time pitching coach, quickly out after he falls behind 2-0. You go back to that 1-out walk, and I think that really forces your hand. You're getting closer and closer to the big bats in this Blue Jay lineup. Anytime you walk hitters in that bottom third of your lineup.
Estrada and Granderson seem to be dealing with the stressful life of a big leaguer pretty well right now.
Yeah, that one didn't count. It hit the rim. It's a long season, Dan.
Yeah.
Got to occupy yourself. A lot of downtime. If you ever have a chance to come back in life, come back as a left-handed starting pitcher.
Absolutely. Where's the form to fill out to make that happen?
What do I want to be when I grow up? A left-handed starting pitcher in the majors.
2-0 the count. Curveball and a strike. 2-1.
Kranitz has been a long-time pitching coach. This is his first full season as the pitching coach. He spent 5 years in Milwaukee. In fact, he had Marco Estrada when they were both with the Brewers. Spent some time in Florida and with the Orioles.
Blue Jays down 1-0, but they've got a couple of men on in the bottom of the third. And a guy who has swung the bat well since coming over to the team, Billy McKinney at the plate. Got a fastball down the middle, and he fouled it back 2-2.
And he had a good cut at it as well. 96 miles an hour. He fouled it straight back. Those are the separators right there. A guy that's having a great year, hitting .320, never fouls that ball back. He gets the fastball he was looking for, and he hits it hard somewhere.
Pivetta and Alfaro taking a little bit of time here in this at bat, getting together on a side, and McKinney grows impatient.
Yeah, I think that goes back to the Kranitz meeting on the mound. The pitching coach came out, and you see Pivetta with a very slight move of his head, almost as if to say, no, the other side. But Alfaro is highly regarded as an offensive player, and he didn't even give him a sign. See, I think Pivetta got a sign, had a pitch in his mind, and then Alfaro was ready to give him a sign, and Pivetta was ready to throw it, assuming that the catcher already had decided what the pitch was going to be. They're still not on the same page. Now they go through another sequence of signs.
Full count.
That was the cutter at 90 in the dirt.
Devin Travis, who had a 2-run double off Pivetta back in May in Philadelphia, waits on deck. Teoscar Hernandez walked with 1 out of the inning, and then Aledmus Diaz with a base hit through the right side. And it's now a 3-2 count on Billy McKinney. And he got him with a curveball for the second out.
McKinney struck out on a fastball his first time up. This time they throw him a 3-2 hook. Pretty good pitch. Just the second strikeout for Pivetta, but it comes at a big time. He takes that index finger and raises it off the baseball. It's basically kind of a spike curveball. He gets very good spin on that pitch. It's a 12-6 breaking ball, and it gets him a strikeout.
Got good stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And he's going to figure it out. As I mentioned, he just doesn't have many starts under his belt yet, but 25 years old, and he hasn't had the experience that he needs to polish off everything.
Kranitz already went to the mound once this half inning. Again, Pivetta and Alfaro very deliberate between pitches, especially with a runner out at second. And a slider in for a strike. 0-1 on Travis.
I think what Kranitz probably delivered the message that, hey, you're getting a little too predictable. You've got 4 pitches. Let's make sure you use them all, and you've got to be able to pitch ahead. It's such an asset when you can throw a first pitch breaking ball to get ahead.
Got a pitch up, but Travis has popped it up. Santana is there, and the Blue Jays will leave a couple of men on. Pivetta gets out of it, still 1-0 Phillies.
Bank Arena in Toronto, the strongest, toughest, and biggest superstars in sports entertainment. WWE Raw comes your way Monday. You can see it on Sportsnet 360 and Sportsnet Now.
All right, Martine, thank you. Back at Rogers Center, 1-0 the Phillies over the Blue Jays, top four. Aaron Sanchez and Nick Pivetta in an intriguing pitching matchup this afternoon. Through 3 innings, Sanchez has given up a run on 3 hits. He has walked 2, struck out 2, and thrown 51 pitches in his return to the big leagues after a better than 2-month absence. And he is throwing the curveball more, and he is throwing it more effectively than we have seen earlier in this season. There's the changeup, runs down and away.
Yeah, the curveball is always a good pitch to throw on the first pitch, because what it does is it takes all the adrenaline out of the pitch. You don't want to throw it 100 miles an hour. You want to be patient with it. It's a good pitch to get you back in a real good delivery. With that, I think Danny Jansen did a nice job to start this at bat off with that curveball to Cabrera, who singled off of Sanchez his first time up. Actually hit a double over the head of Pilar in center.
One ball, 2 strikes on Cabrera, with Franco and Odubel Herrera still to come for the Phillies here in the top of the 4th inning. And a line drive into left field, a base hit.
Aaron's had a good curveball all afternoon, and the ability to throw it near the strike zone and elicits some swings and misses as Alfaro goes after it, and then he chases again. And it's a good pitch for Aaron. He gets Santana to tap it out in front of home. Probably thrown 8 or 9 of them, and he's thrown almost all of them to perfection. He's been very patient with it. He's not trying to throw the best curveball of his life, but it's been a very good pitch for him.
Maikel Franco takes a fastball down the middle for a strike. Franco popped up his first time up. Final game of the series comes your way tomorrow afternoon. It'll be Marco Estrada on the mound for the Blue Jays as Franco lines one softly into right center field. That's a base hit. And the Phillies have the first 2 men aboard here in the 4th.
Take on any project with Home Hardware, proud partner of the Toronto Blue Jays. Here's how.
Franco singles, and look at the target of Jansen. He wants it down in the zone. This ball is up, and that's that running two-seamer. Again, it's running along the plane of the bat, and when it's up, even though Franco didn't hit it hard, he could put the barrel on it and flare it into right field. You can't do that with that pitch if it's down at the bottom of the zone. All you can do is beat it into the ground.
So 2 men on, nobody out for Odubel Herrera, who fouls one back. We talked about this when the Blue Jays were in Philadelphia. It's always mystified to me how this guy can hit with the setup that he has at the beginning as the pitcher's making his delivery to the plate. Like all guys, he looks pretty standard by the time he swings the bat, but look at that right foot.
It's just a mirror image of Tony Batista.
Yeah.
Tony Batista had a very open stance to begin with, but when the ball was in the hitting zone, he got back to square. But he had his hands much lower than Herrera, obviously, but he has that wide open stance, and he put that right foot almost on the outer boundary of the batter's box.
And he kind of rolls it in too. Rolls his ankle in, but straightens it out pretty quickly. Huge leg kick.
Rougned Odor has a similar type of leg kick, but he hits from a more traditional starting point. But he'll roll that ankle over. What he does is he's pushing off of that right foot with the ball of his foot to get the momentum started to start the swing. You can see how he angles that foot right up the top of the toe, and he's going to push and rock into his hitting delivery.
3 balls and a strike. Sanchez has walked a couple already today, and given up 5 hits, but he's only given up 1 run to this point. Walker getting his first look at the right-hander in a couple of months. And that's a base hit. McKinney up with it on a couple of hops. Stopping at third is Cabrera, and the Phillies, as the ball almost gets away, the Phillies have loaded the bases with nobody out.
You know, when you have a pitcher coming back, whether he's been off for a while with an injury or it's just the start of the season, it takes a while to get command of your pitches. And by command, I don't necessarily mean in or out. I just mean to be able to throw them where you want to. And that ball was up again, and Herrera rips it into right field. You can be healthy, you can have velocity, but the last thing that's going to come will be the finish and the location of the pitches. But the last 2 seasons have been nightmares for Sanchez. When you go back to 2016, he led the American League in ERA with a 3.00 ERA. He was 15-2. And who can forget that last start he had in Fenway Park against the Red Sox when he was dealing. And since then, it's been a assortment of injuries that have kept him out. He made just 8 starts last year. This is his 16th start this year in his first start since the end of June.
And Justin Schaefer just now starting to throw down on the bullpen. Bases loaded, nobody out, 4th inning, 1-0 Phillies. Catcher Jorge Alfaro.
Alfaro chased a couple of breaking balls in his first at bat and struck out to end the 2nd inning.
And a strike.
Now that was a very good delivery. He was out over the front foot. He finished driving right toward home plate, and it was 94, but it was delivered with purpose.
Nice play by Smoke, robbing Alfaro for out number 1.
Well, that was 2 runs for sure if Smoke doesn't snare that line drive. We talk about his ability to dig balls out of the dirt, and there he has great reactions to snare the line drive. He's well off the bag, playing behind the runner, and he makes a heck of a play. That's down into the corner for sure. Going to be at least 2 runs, maybe 3. That's a start for Sanchez.
Yeah. I was about to say you get a ball on the ground, you can get out of this, but with Quinn up there, very, very unlikely given his speed. Quinn had an infield hit and scored a run his first time up.
Well, the Blue Jays are in double play depth in the infield, but they're extra close with Quinn running. If they have any chance at all, you've got to really shorten up the middle. So they want to turn it very quickly if it's a ground ball. There's a double play depth, and then there's an exaggerated double play depth when you got a good runner like Quinn.
Now you wonder, though, because he's so fast, if they don't feel they have a chance, if they're more likely on a play to just come home and try to get the 1, because they know they don't have much of a shot of turning a traditional double play.
Yeah, and you can see some of the infielders looking into the dugout, checking with Louis Revere, just to see exactly where they are as far as the alignment, as far as the depth, where he wants them to be.
The guy at third, Asdrubal Cabrera, does not run well, and even on a ground ball to short or second, they get a chance to come home and force the runner at the plate. 2-1. Up and away, ball 3. First thing, though, is Aaron Sanchez has to throw strikes here. 68 pitches, 43 strikes, 25 balls so far.
That's a much better ratio than he had during his rehab, those 3 games down in the minors.
And a strike. 3-2. Cabrera began the inning with a base hit, took second on a single by Franco. And then the Odubel Herrera base hit loaded the bases. Alfaro lined one to first for the first out. And it's a full count on Quinn. Grounded down to first and under the glove of Smoke down the line. 2 runs are going to score on a double by Quinn that makes it 3-0.
Boy, that's a tough play for a first baseman. You bounce to your right and the ball's hit back toward the base, and Smoke didn't have much of a chance to make a play on that. It just bounced past him down the right field line. Quinn's had a couple of good at-bats so far this afternoon. It's just a bouncing ball. Smoke just can't get to it. Bounces under his glove down the right field line. Herrera, for some reason, stopped at second. Not that he might have had a chance to score. Maybe Guerrero put a deke on it. But 2 runs are going to come in on this bouncing base hit.
Now Cesar Hernandez. Schaefer looks ready if needed out of the bullpen. The Phillies now 3 runs on 7 hits. And the Blue Jays are backed up the middle. Smoke even with the bag at first, and Diaz a step or 2 behind the bag at third. Back to the mound. Sanchez will look the runners back. 2 down. Well, his return to the big leagues he's had to work for it here today.
Yeah, and I think, all things considered, it's been kind of a positive return for him. Yeah, we just have 2 outs here in the 4th inning, but physically he looks fine. Doesn't seem to have any sort of concerns over the well-being of his finger. It was the index finger on his right hand that was injured. We have seen some great curveballs, some very good fastballs, and overall I have to say it's kind of a triumphant return to the rotation. It's going to take him a while to get back up to speed. Just the difference of pitching in Double-A and in the Florida State League compared to pitching in the big leagues. I think the biggest thing for Aaron is to be able to make 6 or 7 starts down the stretch and finish up the season on a positive note. Put this season to bed so he can have a normal offseason of preparation for next year.
Got a call there, and it's 1-1. Sanchez is under Blue Jay control for 2 more years, eligible to be a free agent after the 2020 season. Same with Marcus Stroman, right? They both have 2 more years until they can become free agents. And the way things are looking, they might be the elder statesman in the rotation next year. Although the Blue Jays could go out and sign a guy or 2, a veteran. Speaking of which, with Aaron Sanchez being activated today to make room on the roster, the Blue Jays designated Jaime Garcia for assignment.
Yeah, they needed a spot on the roster, and Garcia, who was working out of the bullpen, was designated for assignment. So the Blue Jays have some time to make a move with this contract.
Estrada's going to start tomorrow. Could have the possibility of a 6-man rotation the rest of the way. You see Gaviglio and Estrada there. You've got Baraki and Pannone. And you got Stroman and Sanchez when Stroman gets back. Stroman on the DL with the blister problems too. 2-2 curveball lined into left field, and that ball's going to get down for a base hit and easily score a couple of runs to make it 5-0.
You remember that Hoskins hit a sac fly on a similar breaking ball. He stayed on it and gets enough on it to line it into left field to drive home 2 more runs. Yeah, he's had a 3 RBI game, and the Phillies have scored 5 runs. It's been a while since they've been able to put up runs against anybody.
A 4-run 4th inning for Philadelphia, for a team that has been struggling offensively. Now 5 runs on 8 hits. Here's Nick Williams, who has struck out and grounded out. John Gibbons wants to give Aaron Sanchez a chance to get out of the inning at least. If nothing else, may as well get the pitch count up a little bit and keep building. Center field. Pilar tracking it, and that's all. But 4 runs scored. It's 5-0 Phillies. Jeff Ross, who has been with the organization from its inception in 1977, started off as the visiting clubhouse manager, worked the home clubhouse for many, many years. Now is down in Florida with the Dunedin operations. Announced he's going to retire at the end of the year, throwing out the ceremonial first pitch to another longtime Blue Jay employee and his colleague Kevin Malloy.
Yeah, Jeff Ross started with the Blue Jays in their inaugural season in 1977. Kevin Malloy was his lieutenant for a long time in the home clubhouse. Jeff started out in the visitors clubhouse when I first started coming here as a visiting player in 1977. He goes by the nickname Boss Ross, and a lot of players were out to watch him throw out that ceremonial first pitch. It was a great moment for a long time and a very loyal employee of the Blue Jays.
Yeah, one of the good guys.
Yep.
5-0 Phillies going to the bottom of the 4th. Justin Smoke, Kendrys Morales, and Kevin Pilar, as Nick Pivetta has now been staked to a pretty comfortable lead. Shift on again. Smoke. Pivetta's given up just 1 hit so far, a base hit to Aledmys Diaz.
A lot of pitching coaches really make emphasis of noticing how pitchers pitch with a lead. How aggressive are you? How consistent are you in the strike zone? You've got the upper hand now. You've got a 5-0 lead. Take it to the offense. Take it to the hitters. Pitch ahead. They're the ones that have to play catch up, and you don't want to encourage them by walking anybody or hanging pitches. But Rick Kranitz is keeping a close eye on Nick Pivetta.
Well, that's something that a guy that you competed against and a guy you know well was very good at, Jack Morris, and he'd give up some runs, but when he pitched with the lead, he understood exactly what the job was. And if you hit one out of the ballpark, you hit one out of the ballpark, but he was going to throw strikes with the lead and make you earn it.
And he would look at you too. And I mean, there's a pitch right there that makes absolutely no sense to me. A leadoff walk with a curveball in a 5-0 game. And Rick Kranitz has got to be shaking his head right there, thinking, what's going on here, boys? What's going on?
That's what that look says right there.
Can anybody else see the scoreboard except me?
We want to thank Rick for giving us that facial expression in that exact moment right there.
I don't get it. Rick and I talked about that at the start of this series yesterday, talking about pitchers pitching to their stat sheet instead of pitching to their scoreboard.
Kendrys Morales, the batter.
And now you throw that 3-2 curveball to Smoke, and you miss with the first pitch to Morales. It just takes you out of your whole aggressive mindset.
Morales hit a fly ball to right field his first time up. 1-1.
I mean, that's the one thing Jack Morris always did. I mean, there were times when he would kind of wave at you like, I'm going to throw you a fastball. Look at the scoreboard. I don't care if you hit it 600 feet. It's still only 1 run.
It's interesting to me, and this is the one situation where we see teams defend Morales differently. Now the shift is on, 3 on the right side, as it almost always is, but a lot of times with a runner at first, you'll see the second baseman in where he is right there, so they can try to start a double play. But against Morales, I think Hernandez is going to be 8-10 feet deeper than he is, give himself more range, and still have time to start a double play because Morales doesn't run well at all.
At least. I agree with you 100%. When you look at the alignment, it really doesn't make any sense given the hitter and the fact that Morales doesn't run well. So you could back up that second baseman. Yeah, you might want to keep Cabrera closer to the bag at second. Franco, the third baseman, is over near the bag, the only defender on the left side of the infield.
Curveball drilled deep right center field. He did it! Morales has homered in 6 consecutive games to tie a Blue Jay franchise record. What a run this guy is on right now.
He lined out the first time and he got a breaking ball, and boy, he has not missed many pitches during this hot streak. 9 straight games, and everybody knows exactly what that home run meant. He ties a franchise record, and he can hardly believe it. Day after day hitting home runs, and he is really swinging the bat well. Jose Cruz Jr. had the record. He did it at the end of the 2001 season, and now Morales has tied that.
And again, the all-time major league record is 8, and Morales has now hit a homer in 6 consecutive games.
Yeah, that's one of the more highly regarded records when you think about the guys that have homered in 8 straight. But take a look at this swing. Great separation. His timing was perfect. It was an off-speed pitch, a breaking ball. And he stayed back and he hammered it over the fence. Another look at the balance as he keeps his weight back, and I mean everything he swings at right now, he's barreling up.
Fastballs, breaking balls, pulling the ball, hitting it out to the opposite field.
Yeah, that's a special moment for a special guy to be able to say you've homered in 6 straight games. It's another curveball. Remember, he hit a curveball up and away out of the ballpark to left center in yesterday's game, and now he's done it again.
This is where you want to go over, sit next to him, touch your bat to his bat, just
get some of that magic.
Absolutely.
Monina has made Cuba very proud once again. A terrific guy, and right now he's swinging the bat like it's in another world.
Fouled off by Pilar, and that little shake of the head that he was giving on his way back down into the dugout, even he has trouble understanding this right now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, to hit 5 home runs in a week, or to have a great couple of days where you hit a few home runs, but to homer in 6 straight games, that's pretty remarkable.
Long throw is not in time. Pilar beats it out.
Kevin Pilar was thrown out on a bang-bang play in the second inning on a grounder to second, and you could see Asdrubal Cabrera, as he was going after this, knew that it was going to be very close. He unloads in a hurry, but doesn't get much on the throw, and Pilar is well past the bag for an infield hit. Kevin sensed that big hop was going to allow him to beat it out. Remember how this inning began? With a 3-2 curveball in a 5-0 game.
It's 5-2 now. Still nobody out, and here's Gurriel. He'll take it a little low, ball one. Popped up into foul territory his first time up. He's on a 12-game hitting streak. The multi-hit streak is over. That ended at 11, but he did have a hit in last night's game. So he's working on a 12-gamer, during which time he is hitting .481.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
Yeah. .26 for 54 and damage too. 3 doubles, 3 home runs. Getting some big hits.
Shows bunt. Think he was thinking about it or just messing with him?
You know what? I think he was probably thinking about it. Here comes Kranitz again.
Wow.
He came out last inning, and I don't think he has a very pleasant message to deliver right here. And now he's talking to the catcher and the pitcher. And Jake Arrieta was the starter yesterday, and he's the lead dog. And you can see it's a very animated conversation, and Kranitz is doing all the talking. Now he's looking at the catcher too, like, you guys got to get it together, man. He threw a 3-2 breaking ball to Smoke to start the inning. You walked him, then you give up a home run on the breaking ball, and now everything is kind of going back into the dugout of the Blue Jays. All the momentum has switched fields.
Can you imagine if Jack Morris was a pitching coach, what he would say when he would go out there? Imagine if Jake Arrieta went out there with a message.
Yeah, you know what? And that's the part of becoming a good starting pitcher, is understanding how to manage your own game.
Line to third, and Pilar dives back in safely. 1 down.
This 4K broadcast is brought to you by the Samsung QLED TV. See nothing else.
Dan Shulman and Buck Martinez and Martine Guyard with you here at Rogers Center. The roof closed. The Blue Jays making some noise here in the bottom of the fourth, specifically Kendrys Morales with yet another home run. 1 on, 1 out. Here's Danny Jansen. Lined out softly to second his first time up.
Well, the momentum of the game, as we mentioned, starting to swing back in the Blue Jays' favor. And what happens is you score 4 runs in the top of the 4th inning. You want your pitcher to go out there and have a 1-2-3 inning. Get your offense back in the dugout. But now you've allowed the Blue Jays to build up some confidence and some momentum. And Blue Jays are right back in this game, even though they trail by 3.
Ground ball, fair ball down the left field line. Pilar on his way to third, and Jansen in at second with a double.
Fourth double of the season for Danny Jansen, and he stayed on that breaking ball, was able to keep it fair just inside the bag at third. Danny Jansen can figure out how to get the barrel to the baseball. It might not be a classic swing, but he can get the barrel to the baseball. He really has a low launch position in his hands. He keeps him down around his rib cage, but he's able to fire from that position without having to move them up again. And that's how he's able to get the bat to the ball.
So Teoscar Hernandez with a chance to drive in some runs. Second and third, 1 out. Hernandez walked his first time up. Infield is back for the Phillies with the exception of Santana at first, who's even with the bag.
Take another look at Danny Jansen and his swing. Watch where his hands start right there. That's a low launch position, and he's able to get the barrel to the baseball. Oftentimes you'll see hitters start there, but they go back up to get on top of the baseball. But he does a great job of having that low launch angle and still getting the barrel to the baseball.
Fastball lined into center, a base hit. Pilar in to score. Jansen will be held at third, and it's 5-3.
I don't want to belabor a point, but I'm going to. Justin Smoke walked on a 3-2 curveball with the Phillies up 5-0. And right now, the Blue Jays are threatening to take over. Good at bat by Teoscar. He stays on that fastball. Inner half, he launches it to first base, and he's going to cash in one. Pilar's got to make sure that it's down safely. Jansen is going to be stopped at third. And all of a sudden, it's a 2-run game.
25 pitches thrown in the inning already by Nick Pivetta. Here's Aledmus Diaz, who singled his first time up.
Diaz can look for a breaking ball right now, and he's hit them well when he looks for them.
Got a breaking ball, hit it down to third, to second one, back to first, double play. And that'll end the inning, but not before the Blue Jays get 3 and make it really interesting. Phillies 5 and the Blue Jays 3. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Kevin Barker in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Well, it's the Junior Jays Back to School Day presented by Boston Pizza. It comes your way Sunday, September 9th between the Blue Jays and Indians. The first 20,000 fans, and not just kids, will receive a Buck Martinez Get Up alarm clock. Go to BlueJays.com for tickets. And Dan, every morning my 4- and 6-year-olds say, "Get up, Mom." So if I can get a couple of more hours out of Buck's alarm clock, sign me up.
All right. I'll give you mine, Martine. My kids are older and nothing gets them up. 5-3, the Phillies lead the Blue Jays going to the top of the 5th. And the lessons continue between the young pitcher Nick Pivetta and the pitching coach Rick Kranitz. And you didn't belabor the point, Buck. You made a great point. And you were out in front of it. 3-2 curveball, walking smoke. The leadoff man with a 5-0 lead got him out of his rhythm. Ran into a hot hitter in Kendrys Morales, and the Blue Jays got 3 runs.
You know, when I was playing, guys would holler at pitchers that would do that. Pete Rose, Hal McRae, those guys would be at top step saying, "We're going to get you for that. We're going to get you because you have a big lead," and it looks like you're shying away from contact.
Bullpen is up, but it's not Schaefer this inning. It's Jake Petrichka now that Sanchez is pitching into the 5th.
Well, he's really had a strong finish to his season. Started out rehabbing from nerve replacement surgery, moved a nerve in his elbow and debrided his flexor tendon. But boy, Jake is throwing the heck out of it right now.
Fastball fouled back.
Danny Jansen is catching in his 8th big league game, and he's catching Aaron Sanchez for the first time. But after he called for that last pitch, he signaled with both of his hands, "Bring it to me. Bring it to me." Big part of the plate. Let's go.
to deep right field. And it's going to get down and up and over the wall. McKinney was trying to decide which way to turn to go after that ball, and it'll be a double for Santana.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think that ball was hit so hard it was knuckling because McKinney expected it to hook on him, and I think it went the other way. I think it cut on him because it was hit squarely. Santana comes up with his first hit. It's a double. But watch how McKinney kind of expects it to hook on him, and then it breaks back the other way, and he can't make up the ground. That's the move right there. When you have a left-handed hitter and he hits it in your direction and right, you expect it to hook. But this ball was squared up so that it was actually probably even knuckling away from Billy McKinney.
And the Phillies up by 2. They have a leadoff double here in the 5th inning, and a batter as Drupal Cabrera, who's already got a couple of hits on Sanchez today. Doubled in the 2nd, singled and scored in the 4th.
Cabrera was 0 for 4 going up against Aaron prior to today, but he's one of the few in this lineup that had previous at bats against Aaron.
And he's got his 3rd hit of the afternoon. Santana's going to be held 1st and 3rd, nobody out. And it looks like that may be all for Aaron Sanchez. John Gibbons is already up on the top step, and now he's on his way to the mound. And that is going to be that for Sanchez. His return from the DL, he'll go 4+ innings, throw 86 pitches, and leave with his team trailing 5-3, and the 2 men on his responsibility.
Yeah, and there were some real good moments here for Sanchez, and I think the biggest thing was he had some pitches get away from him, and they got up in the zone, and his first start since the end of June. He'll turn things over to Jake Petrichka with 2 aboard.
Ten hits, 5 runs, the 2 men on his responsibility, and kind of a bit of a hollow stare out to the field, wondering why, or just contemplating why things didn't go as well as he would have liked them to have gone, as Jake Petrichka comes in for the bullpen.
We mentioned how well Petrichka has been throwing the ball lately. His velocity has jumped up a bit. His movement is consistent. And he's done a nice job of stranding inherited base runners. He's allowed just 3 of 20 to score, and he's inherited 2 of Sanchez's runners right here.
1st and 3rd, nobody out for Maikel Franco, who is 1 for 2, had a base hit and scored last inning. It was a 1-0 game at the end of 3. It's now 5-3 in the top of the 5th, with the Phillies threatening to add to their lead.
Petrichka is kind of an unknown entity for the Phillies. Not many of them have any at-bats against him.
Swinging a weak ground ball towards third. Coming home as Diaz throws high, but they still got it. Jansen got the tag down.
Santana kind of slid short of home plate, and he kind of stuck in the mud, and they're going to look at it, but I don't think they have much of a case here. Danny Jansen went high in the air, and when he came down, he went right to the front of home plate. The throw is high. It's the only play that Diaz could make. He has no chance to get two, so it's a high throw. But look at Santana. He stutter stepped on the slide. He slides and stops short of home plate. That allows Jansen to put the tag on him. Watch how his foot stuck in the dirt. He comes up short of the mark, and he's clearly out. Brian Knight, the home plate umpire. You know, we criticize umpires a lot, but he couldn't have been in a better position to make that call.
So a big out at the plate, and it's first and second, one down for Odubel Herrera, who has walked and singled. And he backs away from a strike, 0-1. And Santana explaining how that foot got stuck in the dirt around home plate, and he never even got there. Ground ball to second. Travis, Gurriel, not in time. Close but no at first. Fielder's choice, 2 down.
It just took D-Trav a little bit too far to his left. Had that been hit right at him, they were going to turn two, but Herrera hustling out of the box. Watch how far he has to go to his left, and then the throw to second base takes a little long. The return throw not in time, so the inning is still alive for the Phillies.
I don't know that they could have done much more with that. Herrera's batting for the left side, runs pretty well. Ball wasn't hit that hard. First and third, 2 down. Patricia's gotten a couple of ground balls as Sanchez continues to look on for the third base dugout, and the batter now is Alfaro, who has struck out and lined out.
Consistently 96, 97 with great movement. Petrichka has improved his load as he sits over the rubber, loads up on that back leg, and that allows him to drive through his delivery and has resulted in increased velocity.
Overthrew that one. It's a ball and a strike.
Now Jansen got lucky there. He tried to backhand it, never got into a blocking position, but he was able to kill it right there at home. Jake has gotten 2 outs, and so far no one has come in to score. He's mentioned it. He has done a great job of stranding inherited base runners this season, allowing just 3 of the 20 previously inherited runners to come in to score.
30 years of age, made his major league debut back in 2013 with the White Sox. And he was with the White Sox through the end of last season. A lot of injuries the last couple of years. Had a really good year for them in 2014. Saved 14 games at a .296 ERA. Has never been a huge strikeout guy with that sinking fastball he's got. He's been a much more of a ground ball guy. Just hit too hard and off the glove of Gurriel into the outfield, and that'll cash in a run to make it 6-3.
Gurriel got off to the side. He tried to play it off to the side, but Alfaro hits it so hard it skips past the shortstop. A 2-out RBI single.
It's a base hit. Scored a base hit for Alfaro to make it 6-3 for the Phillies. And the batter will be Quinn, who's already been on base twice. 2 hits, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs. Hitting out of the 9 spot. It's an interesting guy to see what kind of a shot he gets for the rest of this season and into next year to be a regular for the Phillies. Right center field. Here comes Kevin Pillar, and he's there. That'll be all, but the Phillies get a run and now lead 6-3.
Dave from Outrun Rare to the TD Zone. Dave ran more than 2,400 kilometers to raise awareness for rare diseases. And we would also like to welcome Stefan Macchio and his family to the ballpark. Stefan is a Grammy and Academy Award nominated writer and artist who composed our Blue Jays theme song. Welcome everybody to the ballgame.
All right, thank you, Martina. We go to the bottom of the fifth. An eventful 4.5 innings. The Phillies up 6-3 on the Blue Jays. And Nick Pivetta back on the mound. Needs another 3 outs here to qualify for a win. They'll face the top of the order. Billy McKinney, Devin Travis, and Justin Smoke. The Victoria, BC native was terrific through 3 and then got himself into some trouble in the 4th. Got taken deep by Kendrys Morales. Morales is now homered in 6 consecutive games. He's got 2 strikeouts today, and both of them have been Billy McKinney. McKinney just 1 game with the Yankees, and that was against the Blue Jays back at the beginning of the season, and now about a week's worth of at-bats with the Jays. Some activity now in the Philadelphia pen. Their recent acquisition, Luis Avila. And Tim Mayza, who is now the lone lefty in the Blue Jays pen. He's up and throwing after Jaime Garcia was designated for assignment today to make room for Aaron Sanchez. Ground ball to Cesar Hernandez, 1 down.
The 2018 Civic Type R, like no Honda you've ever seen.
Bottom of the 5th here in downtown Toronto. Dan Schulman to Buck Martinez and Martine Guyard with you. Middle game of 3 between 2 franchises that met in the World Series 25 years ago. Blue Jays won that series in 6, and overall in the regular season in interleague play, the Blue Jays lead the Phillies 33-22 all time. Devin Travis is 0 for 2 and 0 for 4 in last night's game. Interesting to see as things develop. Travis has been up at the 2 spot when he's been in there more often than not the last 10 days or so. We saw Gurriel in there when Travis was out. And it'd be interesting to see how John Gibbons, he's got a lot of decisions on his lineup on a day-to-day basis right now. First of all, who plays, and second of all, where they hit. McKinney's hit 1 and 9. Travis has hit 2 and down in the lineup. Gurriel's hit all over the place. Guys like Grichuk and Pilar and Teoscar Hernandez have moved up and down the lineup.
Yeah, it's a lot better situation when you have to figure out where to put players than it is when you have to figure out where those players are.
Yeah.
I need 9 guys. I don't have 9 guys, but now in a situation where he's got a lot of different moving parts, it's just a matter of where do you put all those moving parts on a given day.
Here's the 2-2, and it's taken high, a full count. Travis has hit in the 9 spot more often than anywhere else this year, but has spent 18 games up in the 2 spot. You know what you like to see too, and you're seeing a lot of it, is the veteran players talking to the kids in the dugout. There's a lot of sharing of information. Fly ball to right field, and Williams there 2 down. It's not like the old days where the vets didn't want the kid to take the job of one of their buddies on the team.
Yeah, and that's a good thing too, because a lot of these kids that have joined the Blue Jays here at the second half of the season have spent time with the team in spring training. So it's not like they're coming up into an atmosphere of a lot of players they don't know. So there's always conversation going on about different situations. But you know, Danny Jansen's been around the club a couple of springs now, and you see Barucki a couple of different times he's seen the club. And there's a lot of guys that are on this team that are anxious to share information. And there was a time when that wasn't the case, because players' positions were in jeopardy. Now I think everything is so fluid. Guys are anxious to help their teammates out.
They've shored up the left side of the infield. And 1 ball 2 strikes. Now the count on Smoke. Rob Thompson in the middle, the bench coach. I mixed up his hometown and where he currently lives yesterday. Born in Sarnia, lives in Stratford, as opposed to born in Stratford, lives in Sarnia. Way out in shallow right. Hernandez makes the play. Smoke retired, and the Blue Jays go in order in the bottom of the 5th. Still 6-3 Phillies. Get ready for a refined travel experience. Visit 787.westjet.com to see the whole story. Now look at the line for Aaron Sanchez in his return from the DL.
He faced 2 batters in the 5th inning and then was out of the ball game, so he goes 4+, gives up 10 hits, 6 earned runs. Only runs have been charged to Sanchez. He walked 2. First batter of the ball game, he walked Cesar Hernandez, and he walked Herrera in the 2nd. But he was able to get his pitch count up. He had some good moments, and he had some moments where that fastball got away from him. Tim Mayza now takes over after Petruchka closed out the 5th. Mayza making his 20th appearance of the season. He's been up and down 7 times from AAA, and that ties a franchise record for the most recalls in a single season. Tepera and Campos before him played that Buffalo shuttle.
So he's been on the Rainbow and the Peace Bridges a lot.
A lot.
Cesar Hernandez, leadoff man for the Phillies. He's walked, singled, and grounded out. You know, I don't know that there's been less discussion about a guy on this roster than this guy right here, Tim Mayza. But if you look around right now, or if he looks around right now, Loop's been traded. Jaime Garcia, who wouldn't have been back next year anyways, but he was just DFA'd. And this feels like a big 5-6 weeks for Tim Mayza to try to show management, as he strikes out Hernandez, to try to show management that they should have enough confidence in him to go into next year with him being #1 on the depth chart for the left-handed relievers job.
Yeah, he has all the weapons you want. This is a very good slider that he gets on top of, downward break, and Hernandez swings over the top of it. That's what we call the back foot slider. You can see he throws it to the hitter's back foot and he swings over the top of it. But Mayza is making his first appearance since the 19th of August when he pitched against the Yankees and had a rough outing. But the entire basis for success pitching out of the bullpen is throwing strikes. You throw enough strikes and you throw strikes early in the at bat, hitters aren't going to have an awful lot of feedback as to how you're throwing on a given day. He's got enough fastball that handles righties and lefties. He's a 2-pitch pitcher, fastball slider, but it's all about commanding those pitches. And like I said, when you throw strikes, you're going to get a lot of chases with 2 strikes, just like he did with Hernandez.
And Hoskins wouldn't chase that slider down and in.
So there's 2 things he can do now. He can throw another slider down and in, or elevate that fastball up and in. Generally, and this is a very broad generalization, but guys with a leg kick are very good low ball hitters.
Wow, he threw it exactly where Jansen wanted it.
And that's the result of getting ahead in the at bat. He threw 1 slider down for ball 1 and then came back with a good fastball. And it's in an area where you have to protect with 2 strikes. You could see how Hoskins was tied up. He draws his hands in, just trying to make contact with that fastball, but back-to-back strikeouts for Mayza.
And he's needed only 7 pitches to get those back-to-back strikeouts. Now he faces a lefty in Nick Williams. Slider over the inside edge, 1-1. Be interesting to see who the Blue Jays add for September call-ups. You know, they'll bring a couple of bullpen arms up for sure. I would expect Danny Barnes would be back in September. But Mayza figures to get a lot of work from the left side over the next 5 or 6 weeks. Again, he falls under the category now of the Blue Jays wanting to see what they've got.
Yeah, and you have to prove it if you're Mayza to say, I'm worthy of this spot in the bullpen. And right now, he's got the upper hand again, 1-2. And Pete Walker talking to DeMarlo about what makes Mayza effective when he's good.
Got him. How about that? Leaves Williams shaking his head. Tim Mayza strikes out the side on 11 pitches. He gets Hernandez, Hoskins, and Williams. another home run. He's now homered in 6 consecutive games. That ties the longest streak for anybody in baseball this year, along with Matt Carpenter of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Matt Carpenter's streak is kind of unusual in that he started with 2 games before the All-Star break. He homered against Cincinnati twice, then took the All-Star break. Then the Cardinals went to Chicago after the break, and he picked it up there, including a 3-homer game on the 20th of July. So Matt Carpenter, he had a 6-game home run streak over the span of the All-Star break.
We mentioned the major league record is 8. It's been done 3 different times. It was first done by Dale Long of the Pittsburgh Pirates back in 1956. Don Mattingly did it in 1987, and Ken Griffey Jr. did it in 1993. 3 other players have homered in 7 straight games. And then there's just looking at the list here, it looks to me like 20-some players have done it in 6 consecutive games. So this is already some pretty rare air for Kendrys Morales. If he homers again tomorrow, he'll really be getting up there and just 2 games away from tying an all-time major league record. How about this? Daniel Murphy had a 6-game home run streak, but his was different than anybody else's because they all came in the postseason. That great run he had for the Mets back in October of 2015. Ground ball for the shortstop Cabrera in the shift. 1 down.
Beauty Tone is the official paint of the Toronto Blue Jays. Only available at Home Hardware. Here's how.
Busy day, it looks like. People are doing some shopping. Picking up all different kinds of Blue Jays jerseys. Again, the Players Weekend jerseys are for sale. They'll wear those jerseys again tomorrow. Here's Kevin Pillar, known as KP this weekend. He's grounded out and had a base hit and scored. There's a Canadian on the list of players who have homered in 6 consecutive games. Jason Bay did it for the Pirates back in 2006. Santana's got lots of room in foul territory. 2 down.
Well, Pavetta's kind of sorted things out after a little bit of a rocky bottom half of the 4th inning. He gave up 3 runs in that 4th inning. The Blue Jays scored 3 runs on 4 hits, including a 2-run home run by Morales. A double play got him out of a jam and let Miss Diaz hit it sharply, but right to the 3rd baseman for the inning-ending double play.
Here's Gurriel. Gurriel has fouled out and lined out today. Playing short for the 2nd consecutive day. Hit leadoff yesterday and the 6th spot here today. Well, you talk about guys, you hear the term a repeatable delivery. Pavetta's a pretty big guy, but he just looks balanced and as if he's doing exactly the same thing every time, not rushing at all. A broken bat little pop up on the infield. Gurriel retired and the Blue Jays go in order again. We are through 6 and the Victoria Kids got a 6-3 lead. of the doubleheader between the Yankees and the Orioles. The Yankees with a 10-3 win in the opening game of the doubleheader over Baltimore. Sonny Gray and Andrew Kashner is the pitching matchup in that game. Big day this afternoon for the likes of Miguel Andujar and Aaron Hicks for the Yankees. We're trying to, and it looks like a real long shot, trying to do anything they can to catch up to the Red Sox, but failing that, at the very least, they would like to host a wild card game. And then if they won that, Buck, they'd have to go play the Red Sox in a division series.
Welcome to the postseason.
Tim Mayza's back on the mound. He struck out the side in the 6th inning. Here's Carlos Santana. Santana got the 5th inning started for the Phillies with a double. He is 1 for 3. He'll be followed by Asdrubal Cabrera and then a Maikel Franco. 6 runs on 11 hits for the Phillies. 3 runs on 5 hits for the Blue Jays. Into left center field. Pilar will call up Hernandez to make the play, 1 down. And Joe Biagini is now starting to warm up in the bullpen. Aaron Sanchez went 4+ innings, gave up 6 runs on 10 hits. Jake Petrichka, 1 inning, 1 hit. Mayza struck out the side in the 6th and now back out there for the 7th. Turning Cabrera around to the right side. Probably a good idea. He was 3 for 3 from the left side today. This guy's been a solid pro for a long time.
Yeah, middle infielder, plays a majority of his games at shortstop. Switch hitter, has always been able to swing the bat and produce with the bat. He made his 1,046th career start at shortstop today. He's had a nice career.
Came up with the Indians in 2007. Has also been with the Nationals, Rays, Mets, and now the Phillies. Career .269 hitter. And a ground ball down to 3rd. Diaz with plenty of time. Bit low, but dug out by Smoke, 2 down. And it looks like John Gibbons, even with a righty coming up, will give Tim Mayza a chance to finish off his 2nd inning of work. He's only thrown 17 pitches. And there's a lefty on deck in Herrera in case Franco were to reach. Fly ball to left. Might have gotten in on him just enough, and Hernandez is there to make the catch on the warning track. 6 up, 6 down for the lefty Tim Mayza.
presented by Boston Pizza continues tomorrow. A 1 o'clock start time for the final outdoor program of the season. Join us pregame outside of gates 5 and 10 for inflatables, activities, and lots of fun. After the game, kids 14 and under can even run the bases just like the pros. Go to BlueJays.com for tickets.
Thank you, Martine. Danny Jansen leads off the bottom of the 7th. And drills the ball to left center field. It's down. Will split the outfielders and get to the fence. And Danny Jansen's got his second double of the afternoon.
Absolutely remarkable the way Jansen's offense has come around, and obviously we have told the story before of him putting glasses on at the end of the 16 season. He went to the Arizona Fall League, had a great offensive season. This is that spike curveball, stays up in the zone, and Jansen is all over it. He splits the outfielders in left center and goes all the way to the wall. Quinn dives for it, but he wasn't close to making a catch. There's Danny Jansen. It's the leadoff double here in the 7th.
Strike taken by Teoscar Hernandez. Danny Jansen is now 10 for 26 with 5 doubles and a homer. How about that?
Well, and that's what you want from your catcher. You want extra base power. Hit some doubles, hit a home run once in a while. Because normally you're not going to be the kind of guy that you want to hit for a high average. He calls a good game, catches a good game. Pitchers love to throw to him. But he's getting some extra base hits, and that's key, especially when you're hitting in the bottom of the order.
And Avilan is back up in the bullpen for the second time for the Phillies.
Billy McKinney is 2 hitters away, so he's probably getting ready for McKinney in this inning.
Of course, the Blue Jays have a guy like Randall Grichuk they can go to if they want to. 6-3 Phillies, leadoff double Jansen. Hernandez has walked and had an RBI single today. Lays off. That's a pitch that has given Hernandez a lot of trouble. That slider just down and away, but he lays off there to even up the count at 2-2.
Identifying that breaking ball early and recognizing that it's going to break out of the strike zone has been the separator for so many hitters. Pivetta didn't see that last sign from Alfaro, so they want another sequence of signs.
And a swing and a miss at a high fastball for out number 1.
Hernandez strikes out. The Super Slow-Mo Cam is brought to you by the Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. The camera reimagined, available now. There's that 4-seam fastball upstairs. You can see the great spin on it from Pivetta. Got a piece of it, but catcher holds on for the strikeout.
90 pitches now thrown by Pivetta this afternoon. And here's Aledmus Diaz, who's had a base hit and grounded into a double play. Missing inside, a ball and a strike.
Pivetta's done a nice job economizing on his pitches. He's just thrown 92 pitches as he works here in the 7th.
Really only had 1 rough inning, and that was back in the 4th. There's a strike. 1-2.
Kranitz, the pitching coach, had a couple of different meetings with Pivetta, and you can see there's conversations ongoing in the dugout. Kapler, the manager, Rob Thompson, the bench coach, and Kranitz, the pitching coach.
And Diaz went around. 2 down, and now Gabe Kapler keeping an eye on things as Billy McKinney comes to the plate. And will Kapler make a move here?
Cranit's going to check on the well-being of Avilan. He certainly should be ready. There's plenty of time, but I think he'll probably let McKinney or Pivetta face McKinney in this situation. As you mentioned, they've got Grichuk on the bench. They've got Russell Martin on the bench and Luke Maile.
McKinney lifts a fly ball, left center field. It's carrying. It's gone. Another home run for Billy McKinney. Second day in a row, he drives one to deep left center, and it's a one-run game.
Well, you can see in the Phillies dugout there was a lot of discussion about what we should do. But because they had Randall Grichuk on the bench, they said, you know what, let's let him face. And Kranitz to say, wait a minute. Time out. He wants to go out before there's another pitch thrown. But they were talking about the merits of having Pivetta face McKinney or having a left-hander face Grichuk. And obviously McKinney made him pay the hesitation, as McKinney has been impressive. He gets a fastball, runs out over the plate, and he stays right on it. He was 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts against Pivetta until this swing. And that's a 2-run home run, his third home run. Now he has driven in 9. What a good swing by Billy McKinney. He's not a big guy, and he doesn't think about hitting home runs, but you can see they went to the phone, should we make the change, and the disappointment of seeing that ball go over the wall in left.
If you look at his numbers, last couple of years in the minor leagues, he's hit 16 home runs in each season. So he's got some power, but he has shown a lot of power here in his brief time in Toronto. He's got 3 home runs in 19 at-bats with the Blue Jays. And all of a sudden, it's a one-run game. And now Sir Anthony Dominguez, a right-hander, is getting up for the Phillies. And the manager himself is on the phone. You know, and none of the 3 home runs that McKinney has hit have been 340 foot down the line, just get over the wall. The first 2 were 411 and 402. I didn't see what that one was measured at, but it's got to be around 400. He didn't hit it that far to the left of straightaway center. He hit it to kind of the same spot he hit the one last night.
Yeah, he's got good power. It's a short, compact swing, but he generates an awful lot of bat speed. And we have talked a lot about how he chokes up probably a couple of inches on the bat handle for better bat control, and that's working very well for him. Oh, what a nice addition he has been. We added the added dimension of a speedy outfitter and a left-handed bat.
Yep.
2 assets the Blue Jays are looking for.
And in this daily who plays and who sits, with a righty on the mound for the Phillies again tomorrow, I don't know how you take McKinney out of the lineup right now the way he's swinging the bat.
You don't. You just let him play. Managers are funny like that, aren't
they? That guy helps me win games. Yeah. I'll put him in there again. As he's surrounded by Granderson and Grichuk, the 2 outfielders who are not in the lineup today. 2-2 to Travis, and it's a full count. So the kids are contributing again today. Danny Jansen's got a couple of doubles. Billy McKinney has hit a home run. Tim Mayza, 6 up, 6 down in relief. And it's a 1-run game. And it's ball 4 to Travis.
Pivetta thought it was going to be called a strike. Pivetta has gone 7+ innings 4 times this season, and his day is going to come to an end. So he'll go 6 2/3. He can't reach that 7-inning plateau, but he will leave. He cannot lose it. He can win it.
So the kid from Victoria goes 6 2/3. 2/3, 5 runs allowed. Devin Travis on a base is his responsibility, but Pivetta can still get a win depending on what the bullpen does. And here is Sir Anthony Dominguez, who is Sir Anthony here on Players Weekend, a guy who had never pitched in the majors before this year, was in the minors, came up in May, and almost instantly Buck became the closer, started his career with a 15 2/3 inning scoreless streak. And now sometimes closing, sometimes Pat Neshek is closing, but Dominguez is on here to face Justin Smoak in the 7th.
He's got a big fastball, and he uses it right there, 97 miles an hour to get ahead of Smoak. A little bit of a cut finish to it. That ball moved right at the end. He'll throw his fastball a lot to left-handers. Almost 87% of the time you're going to get the heater.
Tying run at first, 2 down in the bottom of the 7th. Pivetta surrendering a home run this inning to Billy McKinney to make it a 1-run game. Took a little off, 1-2.
StatCast AI powered by AWS, and you can see the defensive alignment for Smoak at the plate. Franco, the third baseman, right near the bag at second. Cabrera's the shortstop. Hernandez, second baseman, way out there in right field.
Got him. Great movement on those pitches, and Smoak strikes out to end the 7th. But it's now a 1-run game after Billy McKinney does it again, his 3rd home run as a Blue Jay. By authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership, and it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Another home run for Billy McKinney, another home run for Kendrys Morales, but the Blue Jays are still trailing. They've made it close, mind you. They were down 5-0. They were down 6-3. They're now down 6-5, going top 8. As right-hander Joe Biagini comes into the game.
Biagini using his fastball more consistently since he's moved to the bullpen. This is his 40th appearance of the season. It's all about the ability to throw that hard sinking fastball down in the zone early in the at-bats. That'll set up the entire at-bat. He's got the bottom third of the Phillies order here in the 8th.
So Joe Biagini, as you can see, you just saw the back of his jersey. It's Players Weekend, and he's got Joe the Great written on there. And he really wants people to know that this is not him saying, hey, I'm great. It's a whole different situation. But as he said to me yesterday, hey, are you doing the thing up there? Which I think means, are you broadcasting the game on television? And I said, yes. So we talked about it. It's a Seinfeld reference. And I said, all right, give it to me. He's a huge Seinfeld fan. And I watched a bit in my time too. And he goes, you remember the episode where Elaine is dating the maestro? And the maestro insists on being called the maestro. And Jerry turns to Elaine and says, why don't I get a nickname? Why can't I be Jerry the Great? And Joe's just such a big Seinfeld fan. He wanted to have something to do with the show on the back of his jersey. So he is Joe the Great. So he's not
amazing where all these nicknames come from. But that's leave it to Biagini to go that in depth to acknowledge Seinfeld.
And if you're wondering, his favorite episode is the marine biologist episode, he said yesterday, which is a great one. Here he is, try to keep it at a one-run game. There's the 1-2 to Odubel Herrera, and a fastball taken a little bit high. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That's a tough one to lay off of right there. 2 strikes. It's a borderline strike upstairs, but Herrera was able to lay off of it.
The 2-2. And that is a fair ball down the left field line. Herrera on his way to second. The Hernandez throw is cut it short by Gurriel. Leadoff double for Odubel Herrera.
'17 double of the season for Herrera, and you can see the pitch is down and away, and he's able to slap it down the line. Look where Diaz is, well off the line, not expecting Herrera to go down the line, and that's off the wall. And Hernandez's throw is a strong one, but off the mark.
So the Blue Jays get some runs. The Phillies answered back with a run last time. The Blue Jays get 2 in the bottom of the 7th, and now the Phillies trying to stretch out that lead again. Here's Jorge Alfaro, who's 1 for 3. And a strike over the outside corner, 0-1. Bounce foul, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, another pitch down in the zone. You can see when he keeps the ball down, very difficult to square it up. Troy Tulowitzki is here in town, and it was announced earlier that the Blue Jays will not expect Tulowitzki to play this season. Haven't seen Brandon Jury wearing the glasses before.
Blue Jays would love to get him back at some point. Get a look at him at third base, second base, maybe spot him in the outfield. There's another guy who brings versatility. Remember, it was McKinney and Drury that the Blue Jays got in the trade for Jay Happ from the Yankees. Out of play.
Biagini very deliberate on the mound, taking his time. He and Jansen had a little trouble getting together on that last pitch they threw to Alfaro.
It's been something the Blue Jays have talked to him about, trying to speed him up a little bit, and at times it appears to have worked. Everything slows down when there's a runner on, and everything seems to slow down even more when there's a runner at second. And you got to go through an elaborate set of signs. The third pitch that Jansen called for is the one that Biagini was looking for.
The cut fastball missed away. Joe's got a great curveball. It's really effective with 2 strikes. We haven't seen it just yet. It'd be a good time to drop that hook on Alfaro. He's a free swinger. Alfaro struck out on a Sanchez curveball his first time up, way back in the 2nd.
And he got him. 1 down.
Might have been a changeup from Biagini, 88 miles an hour, but a good movement. You can see the grip as he chokes off that fastball. It sinks, and he's out in front of Alfaro. Strikes out for the 2nd time this afternoon.
You know, it's so different, I would think, Buck, for a catcher like Jansen who comes up for the minors today as Roman Quinn steps in, compared to, say, when you came up. In terms of the number of pitchers you will catch, because guys so often through complete games, a whole pitching staff was probably 9 when you came up. It's 13 now. Now Jansen's caught some of them in the spring and some of them in the minors, but on any given day he's catching 4, 5, 6 different guys.
That's the real challenge for a catcher nowadays, because on a given day you're not going to have the same stuff as a pitcher, and you're dealing with different pitchers 3 and 4 times in a game. And you're right, when I first came up, starters would go 8, 9 innings, and you'd see maybe 1 or 2 relievers at the most. But now you're going to see 4 and 5 pitchers in a game most times, and for a young catcher, you got to remember what signs they use. Every pitcher has a different set of signs that he's most comfortable with. Got to remember to switch gears to those signs as they make pitching changes. That changeup is a good one there. A lot of movement down and away. When you work out of the bullpen as a reliever, you certainly don't have to have the wide assortment of pitches. A couple of pitches. Biagini wants a different baseball. But if you can command 2 pitches as a reliever, you can have a lot of success, and the third is just icing on the cake. But Biagini with fastball, changeup, and then the curveball, that's his 3rd pitch that's most effective.
Fouled off by Quinn to stay alive. Who did you catch in your first game in the big leagues? You remember? You would remember.
Billy Butler, I think.
Yeah.
Left-handed pitcher that threw straight and didn't have much of a breaking ball, so I could catch him. They really handpicked the pitchers that I would start with.
They eased you in?
Yeah, because I couldn't, I went from A ball to the big leagues.
Right, you're a Rule 5 guy.
And then there was a lot of guys that I just flat out couldn't catch.
Got him. Fastball up in the zone, and again, Jansen wanted it up there, and you see Jansen pointing out to Biagini, acknowledging how well he located that pitch.
Yeah, Danny's done a nice job all afternoon of emphasizing what he wants from his pitcher. And he's going to hold that target up high, and Biagini delivers the high heater. And Danny Jansen acknowledges a job well done by his pitcher.
So back-to-back strikeouts after the double by Herrera. And now here's Cesar Hernandez, 1 for 3 with a walk. He's got the stuff. He's got major league stuff. There's no doubt about it. It's been a rough couple of years up and down for Joe Biagini, but John Gibbons has said every single time that he's been asked about Biagini, Gibbons has said, give him some time, let him get comfortable in the bullpen. Gibbons believes that Biagini will eventually settle back in and become a very effective big league reliever.
And that's what he did in his rookie season. He pitched in 60 games as a rookie and had a .306 earned run average. He pitched well in the postseason. He didn't give up a home run that rookie season until September. And he really established himself very well in his rookie season, working exclusively out of the bullpen.
Boy, he tried to bring that back over the inside corner. Looked like he did. You can see Jansen surprised he didn't hear a strike call. That's a pretty good pitch.
Yeah, it is a good pitch, and that's the pitch that gives the umpires a lot of trouble because there's not much room for him inside between the left-handed hitter and the catcher. Jansen slid to the inside, and there just wasn't much space for the home plate umpire to get a good look at it. Whenever I was catching and I wanted to come inside, I would tap the umpire on the shin guard to let him know I needed some room, but I was going to try to stay as low as possible to give him an opportunity to look over to the top of me and really have a good shot at that inside corner.
Lifted in the air to left field. And Hernandez is there to make the catch. And after the leadoff double, Biagini gets the next 3 guys. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Jamie Campbell and Cliff Floyd are in the Samsung broadcast studio. Always bats cleanup.
Blue Jays were down 5-0 in the bottom of the 4th. Kendrys Morales with a man aboard gets a hanging breaking ball from Nick Pivetta, and he hammers it over the wall in deep center field. For Morales, that's 6 straight games with a home run. That ties for the franchise record for consecutive games with a home run. Jose Cruz Jr. had hit in 6 straight games, had homered back in 2001.
He's also flied out and grounded out. In the 6 games, he's got 7 home runs, 10 RBIs, 11 hits.
Well, Morales, he's got a 9-game hit streak. Not only the 6 straight games with a home run, but he's got a 9-game hit streak now. Alfaro hooked that ball in the inside of his right foot, that foul ball.
It's interesting because he really turns, he opens up his right leg and his right foot and kind of makes that shin guard a little bit less of a factor.
Yeah, it is a unusual setup.
Lined into left field, that's a base hit. And the tying run is aboard to begin the bottom of the 8th. And we'll see if John Gibbons goes to a pinch runner, and we have our answer. Curtis Granderson's going to come out and run for Morales.
Another good day for Kendrys Morales as he gets his 2nd hit. Boy, he's been swinging it. So Granderson will take over as the pinch runner. He represents the tying run.
And a nice ovation for Morales again as he makes his way off the field. some kind of hot. Kevin Pillar's 1 for 3. And an infield hit back in the 4th, and it came around to score. Well, if you're looking at parts of the lineup you want up right now in a 1-run game, Pillar's been pretty hot. Gurriel's up next. Danny Jansen's behind him. He's got 2 doubles today.
Pillar has faced Dominguez just one other time. He has gotten a hit. He's 1 for 1 on him. There are only 3 Blue Jays that have faced Dominguez in the past. Granderson, Mahle, and Pillar. He saw Danny Jansen, who's got a pair of doubles today.
The 0-2 to center field. Herrera there to make the catch, and Granderson retreats to first. And Giles now warming in the bullpen. Well, he threw a lot of pitches, got the save yesterday. Threw 29 pitches yesterday.
Yeah, but you know what? He had pitched a lot lately, and I think he can crank it up if need be. Keep this within striking distance.
Lourdes Gurriel is 0 for 3, working on a 12-game hitting streak, but needs a base hit to extend that. He's the go-ahead run. Asked him about Junito on the back of his jersey. So he's got 2 older brothers. We know Ulieski, who plays for Houston. There's another brother who was also a professional player in Cuba, Unieski. And Lourdes's middle name is Unielki, Y-U-N-I-E-L-K-I. So he said it's kind of a combination of his middle name, his older brother name, and Junito, kind of like little Uni, right? So
Little Uni.
Yeah. He's much younger than his older brothers. Always tried to tag along with him as a kid when they were playing in Cuba. His dad, a legendary player. Three and 0. Danny Jansen on deck. Pretty lively crowd here today. Better than 33,000 in attendance this afternoon. And the Blue Jays have rallied back within a run. Right at the knees, maybe a little further down than that even, but it's called a strike. 3-1.
Everything Dominguez throws is hard. He throws a hard fastball. That last pitch 98, and his slider is very hard as well.
Ball 4. Granderson up to second. 2 on with 1 out for Jansen.
Rick Kranitz has been busy today. Another trip to the mound for the pitching coach. Is just now starting to loosen up down in the Phillies bullpen. Kranitz has a specific message he wants to deliver to Sir Anthony Dominguez.
And Victor Arano is up in the bullpen right now for the Phillies. We talk about trying to grind out a win for a young team that's in a pennant race, but they've lost some ground on their competitors, the Atlanta Braves, in the last little while. Here's Danny Jansen. 2 doubles and 3 at-bats today. He's hitting .385. 6 of his 10 hits are for extra bases. Will this get out of play? Sure looks like it will.
Broke his bat. It's going to need a new piece of lumber, but Jansen, a couple of doubles, as you mentioned, and boy, it's really been impressive the start he's gotten off to here with the Blue Jays. never known for his offense until the last couple of seasons when things have really come together for him.
Tying run at second, a go-ahead run at first, with one out here in the bottom of the 8th. Look out. Fastball drilled him in the left arm at 98. Oh.
That's a tough spot to get hit. Not much protection there. And you can see pointing to his elbow. And they're going to make a pitching change here as Gabe Kapler's coming out of the pen. He makes the call. Victor Arano is the pitcher that was warming up. Here's a look at the two-seam fastball that gets away from Dominguez and hits Danny right on the elbow. And now with the pitching change, boy, that's a tough shot right on the elbow. And you can see it appears to have broke the skin. Mickey Huffman out to check on Jansen. Boy, I used to hate that when trainer come out and see how you're doing and press right on the spot. So how's that feel?
It hurts.
It hurts. But she's obviously testing the strength to see whether or not he has the strength, as Maley's on the bench, Barton's on the bench. They've got a couple of options, but he's going to stay in the game.
That's a good sign. Bases loaded, one out, pitching change. Blue Jays looking to take the lead here in the bottom of the 8th.
Victor Arano, not an overpowering fastball. He's appeared in 46 games before coming into this game. His fastball about 93. They throw a slider as well and a changeup, but he'll use that fastball to righties, fastball and slider. Use the changeup more to left-handed hitters. But it's a jam for the Phillies indeed.
The bases are loaded. Granderson's the pinch runner after Morales began the inning with a base hit. Gurriel drew a one-out walk. Jansen hit by a pitch to load him up. And the batter is Teoscar Hernandez. He has walked, had an RBI single, and struck out.
First pitch slider. There he went after it.
Checking with Brian Knight to see if it would have been a called strike. Hernandez has shown so much power to the big part of the ballpark, right center field on pitches away from him. Foul tip that just grazed the bat, so it's 0-2.
And now you really got to shorten up and just try to put the bat on the ball, get it to the outfield. Anderson at third has decent speed, but now with 2 strikes, cut down your swing, put the ball in play.
And he chased down and away, a big second out here in the bottom of the 8th.
A couple of those strikes in that at bat were off the plate breaking balls, and with 2 strikes he chases one down and away.
Two down, and now it's up to Aledmus Diaz. Slider swung on and missed. 0-1. So he's thrown 4 pitches. Arano has. They've all been sliders.
3 of them been out of the strike zone.
Yep. To center field, well hit. Herrera back over his head. Granderson home. Gurriel home. Jensen on his way to the plate. A bases clearing double for Aledmys Diaz.
Boy, Diaz has gotten some big hits for the Blue Jays. Morales got it started with a leadoff single. There's another slider. This one stayed to the inside part of the plate. Herrera, the center fielder, goes back on it. The ball takes off over his head and bounces up off the wall. That clears the bases. And Jensen all the way from first slides in safely.
What a big hit, what a big moment for Aledmys Diaz, giving the Blue Jays their first lead of the ball game. It is 8-6 now in the bottom of the 8th. Joe Biagini now the pitcher of record, and Ken Giles still up in the bullpen. Billy McKinney with one of the big hits in this game for the Jays, a 2-run homer his last time up. Tough afternoon for Gabe Kapler and the Phillies. They have led almost the entire game. McKinney got under it, just missed it. Long run for Williams, and he's not going to get there. That ball will drop in foul territory, and McKinney gets another chance.
Well, that ball stayed up there a long time, and I know Williams was shaded in the right center alley, but that ball was up there forever. And I thought for sure he was going to get to it. Look where he starts. He's got a long run. There's no question about it. But by the time he gets over there, it lands on the warning track and bounces out of play. So McKinney will have another hack.
McKinney, the first player in franchise history to hit 3 homers and drive in 9 runs in his first 7 games with the Blue Jays. Drafted by Oakland, traded to the Cubs, traded to the Yankees, traded to the Blue Jays. And getting a shot. Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. It seems like, I think we said this last night, it seems like every at bat Billy McKinney has is 5-6 pitches.
Yeah, he's very under control in the at bats. He doesn't have a lot of wild swings. He certainly lets the pitch come to him. I mean, he obviously has some talent. A former #1 pick by Oakland, so they identified his talent early. And then he's moved around a couple of times in some big trades. And now he likes this opportunity he has here in Toronto.
Big hit of the inning belonging to Aledmys Diaz. That's him out at second. A 2-out, 3-run double to make it 8-6. And a swing and a miss to end the bottom of the 8th. How about Aledmys Diaz, though? What a big moment for him. Line drive to center over the head of Odubel Herrera. 3-run double. 8-6 Blue Jays going to the 9th.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda at the Model Clearout event. The real victory lap is the drive home.
Next Blue Jays game tomorrow afternoon. Blue Jays Central at 12:30. First pitch 1:07 Toronto time. Marco Estrada on the mound. Phillies and Blue Jays wrap up the series. And you can also catch the game on Omni, the Pinoy edition. Great to have Omni on board this season. Ken Giles is on looking for another save.
Giles has done a nice job since coming to the Blue Jays, especially in save situations, and that's what he has inherited here.
And it looks like he's going to get an out on one pitch. Rhys Hoskins pops one up, and Justin Smoke is there, one down. Changes in the outfield. Billy McKinney has moved from right to left field, and Randall Grichuk is coming to the game in right field, so Teoscar Hernandez is out of the game. Giles used 29 pitches to get a save in last night's game. Faced 5 batters, gave up a hit and a walk, but then struck out Hernandez and Hoskins to end it. Here's Nick Williams. What a deflating loss this would be from a Phillies perspective for a team trying to stay in a race. Here's another fly ball. Pilar and McKinney are there, and it's McKinney, and how about that? Ken Giles has been a model of efficiency so far. 2 pitches and 2 outs.
Well, you mentioned he threw a lot of pitches in the game last night, so he wants to be as efficient as possible. Can't get any better than that.
Wow. After this ball game, it'll be the Yankees and the Orioles in the second game of their doubleheader coming up tonight on Sportsnet. Yankees taking the opener earlier today, 10-3. Wall-to-wall baseball. 2 pitches, 2 outs, and the Blue Jays 1 out away from a 5-game winning streak. Here's Carlos Santana.
Giles began his career with the Phillies. First 2 seasons, 9-4 with a 156 earned run average, but then he was dealt to Houston in a big trade.
That is a foul ball. Ken Giles has the longest active save streak in the majors. It goes back to last September. 22 in a row, combining his time with the Blue Jays and, of course, with the Astros back to last season. And if this holds up, Joe Biagini is going to get himself a W today. Kendrys Morales has homered again. 6 games in a row. One and 2. That's a big league slider right there.
The Blue Jays have not won 5 in a row this season.
That is a fair ball. Snuck it right over the bag down the line. McKinney has to go a long way to get it, and sliding into second is Santana.
Santana wasn't quite sure if that was fair or foul. He had a very delayed departure out of the box. This set fastball up and away, and you can see he just kind of looks and says, fair or foul? Fair by plenty over the bag as it goes right over the top of the base. His second double of the afternoon.
So the tying run will come to the plate as Drupal Cabrero's got 3 hits today and has 20 home runs on the season. And a strike. Cabrera has only faced Giles once. He struck out against him. Back to the mound. And the Blue Jays have a 5-game winning streak. Another save for Giles. A win for Joe Biagini. And some big hits today. None bigger than the 3-run double by Aledmus Diaz. That turned a 6-5 deficit into an 8-6 lead. Kendrys Morales homers again. Billy McKinney homers again. And the Blue Jays coming off the field with some smiles on their faces, some energy over the last few days, and playing some pretty good baseball right now.
Yeah, they sure are, and they're getting a good contribution from everybody up and down the order. Diaz with a big hit today, and Morales now 6 straight games with a home run. He had 2 hits, and he got the leadoff single in the 8th inning to start that 3-run rally. So for the first time this season, the Blue Jays have a 5-game winning streak, and the Phillies have lost a couple of tough ones here.
The Blue Jays will go for the sweep tomorrow afternoon, and we've got it for you. Beginning with Blue Jays Central. Blue Jays Central coming your way right now. Jamie Campbell is with Kevin Barker and Cliff Floyd.